Good afternoon to everyone out there in Viewerland. Welcome to the Manic Monday edition of The Rundown. I hope everybody had a great weekend. My name is Mike Piwowarski, and I will be hosting today's program from the East Coast, but I do not do this program without my West Coast co-host.
That's right. That would be me, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from California, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. I will be Craig DeLuz, and I will be your co-pilot today.
We, sir, are going to have some fun. We got some good topics, got some listener contributions as well. So looking forward to it. How was your weekend out there in California, by the way?
It was phenomenal, man. Had a great weekend. Had more than my fair share of bourbon, but no, had a great time. Had some friends and family over for the weekend, and we emptied more than a few bottles.
You made some contributions to the recycling bin. Good for you,
did.
sir.
Yes,
Good for you. That's how you do it. That's how you That's how you do it. Yep. Stay green. Stay green. There you go. Craig, yeah, good weekend here too as well. Yeah, let's see. Hold on. What did I do? I worked all weekend. Yeah. Normally I have half a day Sunday. I worked all day Sunday. So
wow.
So I'm good. Woke up this morning like it was a Wednesday. I'm like, what's going on? It's hump day, isn't it? It's hump day. No, it's not. Crap.
Not hump day. It's just starting, bro.
Just starting it. This is pre hump day. So
oh yeah,
we'll see how it goes. All right, Craig, let's jump right into some stories here. We got some good stuff to give to the folks out there today. I don't know if we did we prep the video on this one, Craig? Did you prep the video on this one, or are we just talking
I was not able to prep the video on this one.
Easy enough here. If you're a fan of Dan Bongino, I am. I don't get to watch him nearly enough. Former Secret Service agent. He's got his own web series, video podcast series, and really good topics he does daily. And Dan's got some influential people that feed him information.
Actually, isn't he? He has a radio show now. Didn't he like take Rush's spot on the EIB, or not the EIB network? But yeah, doesn't he now do Rush's spot?
And in many, not all of Rush's market, right. not everything. Okay. He didn't get into inherit all of it, so he is on the radio a lot more than he was before. So You could definitely catch him there. So great stuff. Great to listen to. You could just, I love the passion the guy has. It's really good. Well, he's been covering the audit of votes out in Arizona. Now, we've been giving you a little bit of this every time it comes up. And, Craig, you and I have this conversation at least 3 or 4 times a week about the validity of the vote for the presidential election.
And I have to tell you, the more information comes out, the more I'm like, I may be on the wrong side of this one. So I can admit when I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And it's heading that way between Georgia and now tell them what they found out in Arizona.
Arizona, we had going back and forth people from the Division of Elections and one of their state senators out there. She was asking questions and putting forward information, and their response was that listen, they'd found just a hair under 75,000 votes, so about 74,000 plus votes, absentee ballots. Okay. Now we know that there's an absentee ballots, and this is all there in Maricopa County, where, again, remember, the rest of the state went red. 1 or 2 counties all of a sudden went blue and went over the top to turn the state. Except they could find no records of these 75,000 votes ever being mailed to the Division of License, or to the Division of Elections. Never mailed. They have no record of them all ever being sent. They have no record where they come from, no record of them going through the postal system, no record of them being dropped off, no record, no chain of custody whatsoever of them coming into the Division of Elections. Just all of a sudden, poof, they're here. Let's count them.
Right. And to be fair, one of the things that they did point out was it very easily, it could have been that people dropped them off. It could have been, there are both legitimate and illegitimate explanations. The thing was that Democrats don't even want them asking. And what it sounds like Correct. They might wind up doing is actually going and canvassing and talking to each one of these individuals and find out, how did you get your ballot in? Did you walk it in? Did you mail it? Did you, how did your ballot? And who knows? We may find out, yeah, I didn't vote.
Well, and I want to be clear too, Craig. It's absolutely possible. And I when I do an absentee ballot, I drop mine off. I don't put it in the mail. Don't trust the postal system just because of the overworked, underpaid kind of thing they have going on. It's no conspiracy theory for me. I drop them off. But when you drop off your ballot and you drop it off at your election supervisor's office or your division of elections, they still log it in. It's got to be logged in and checked off against a name. It's the same way as if you go vote.
Well,
they're checked off, and this didn't happen there.
Right, but something that you pointed out to me is that's what happens in Florida. Every state has different election laws, so it may be different depending on the state. Actually, it could be different depending on the county.
It sure could. It sure could. Yeah. And that's why we're seeing these new voter election laws come into place, Craig, because it's making these uniform across the state, not county to county, city to city.
Well, and that's the thing I think a lot of people don't appreciate about the 2020 election was that you had as low as county election directors and state directors, people who, by the way, didn't have the authority to change the rules for elections, just change the rules for elections. And in some cases, it was to make it work because of COVID. But still, there's a process in terms of how you're supposed to change election laws. And the federal government or the Constitution says that state legislatures are the ones that are supposed to make those rules. And that's not what happened. And so in many of these cases, that's what you have. And you have people going back, you have legislators going back and codifying into law some changes that were made by electioneers. Right, and in some cases, making sure that they also make sure that there's some points of integrity that are in there because of how those changes made it easier to cheat.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's my understanding that in Arizona, same way, if you drop off a ballot, it's marked off. There's a process for that. And that appears to, they did say this part, I'll give you this. It may have been clerical errors. So may have been 74,000 plus clerical errors. That seems normal, right?
Which, by the way, well, you know what? It does seem normal, except for the fact that this is an election where, I mean, really, 40-some thousand odd votes go a different way, and we have a different president. Yep. So, I mean, that's the problem. This is a very small percentage in terms of overall votes, but when you consider how close the election was, and I'm willing to bet that if you went into any state and you did an audit, you're going to find stuff like this. The problem is that these are in places where it mattered, where it made a difference in terms of the outcome of the presidential election. And we have to find out if it would have made a difference or not, because people have to have faith in our electoral system. We have to. And not that we're not going to if we don't investigate stuff like this and stuff like happened in Fulton County where we know for a fact that thousands of ballots were counted twice.
Craigie, let's roll back just a second. Yeah, 74,000 votes can obviously make a big difference. 74,000 unaccounted votes obviously can make a great difference. What we know from what we've previously heard out of Arizona, because we saw these numbers from Pennsylvania and Arizona combined, is that there are these 74,000 mystery votes. And Greg, yep. Listen, if we split those votes down the middle, 49, and then 2% towards the independent, it really wouldn't have that much of a difference. And that would be the statistical norm. Except what we have here is 74,000 votes for one candidate. That's the alarming part. Did
they say all 74,000 votes were for Biden?
They did not say it in this one. In the previous interviews they had, that's what they said. They said, remember, these numbers were so skewed. All of these mystery ballots all were run for one side and not the other. If you recall, when we had the conversation about the votes between Pennsylvania and Arizona, it was something like 800,000 mystery votes, or excuse me, 400,000 mystery votes, and only 800 of them were for President Trump. So that's part of this packet. That's part of this. So of these 74,000 votes, maybe you're going to get, based on those numbers, 50 or 100 that were for President Trump. So that's the problem, right? And again, like you said, this current administration wants us to stay as clear of this as possible without giving it any publicity at all. You had Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, there write a letter to the division elections in the state of Arizona, said, we believe that if you go door to door to ask people how their ballot, not what they voted, Craig, but how they got their ballot to the supervisor's office, that would be voter intimidation, and we don't want you to do that.
Yeah, because going door to door and asking people what their vaccination status is and why they haven't or haven't gotten the vaccine, that's not intimidation at all.
No, the what is it? The COVID witnesses. The COVID witnesses.
The COVID witnesses.
Yeah, yeah. The branch Covidians. Covidians. I heard them all this weekend. So, all right, yeah. So we'll keep tracking on this. We'll keep. Don't worry, folks. We'll turn Craig. We'll get him eventually. We'll get him to come over to the good side. We have cookies too, Craig. Just so you know.
Like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I am a conspiracy connoisseur,
Right,
and this conspiracy is looking quite tasty. Just so you know,
it does.
it's looking it's looking scrumptious. I'm enjoying it. I'm not enjoying it, but it's definitely, you know what I mean.
We got chocolate chip cookies with nuts in them. Yeah,
with nuts in them.
With nuts in them. Yeah, the good kind. All right, rolling right along here. Let's see. We did talk about this last week as well. How the American flag, within the past couple of weeks, how the American flag is now being seen as offensive. If I see the flag, and it's offensive to me because it symbolizes so much hate, the riots, the killing of unarmed black men by police, which we know is not the truth. It's a mass epidemic and thousands are dying a day. We've seen the women, the female athlete. Who are disrespected the flag. We see others refuse to stand during national anthem and do everything else. We've seen all of this. Well, again, Craig, I think it was one of our parting shots last week where we had Venezuela, China, and Cuba. The symbol that they were using for "we're fighting for freedom" was the American flag.
No, you are 100% correct. It was the symbol. And Greg Gutfeld, who has a show there on Fox, actually had some folks out interviewing college students, and they were talking about how they were embarrassed of the flag, how they were offended and ashamed that they didn't feel like the American flag represented them. And I'm like, okay, so first of all, I didn't get what university they were at, but I'm like, first of all, if you're at a public university, that flag is subsidizing your education. So,
yeah,
first of all, understand that. First of all, the very fact that you have the ability to go on national TV and talk about how embarrassed you are of the flag and that you got away with it, you didn't get spirited away into some gulag. The very fact that you were able to do that shows you really how good and how cool that flag really is. Then you've got athletes who decide, no, I'm not going to honor the flag. I'm going to disrespect the flag. Anyway. It just is beyond me. Someone put out a meme where I'm like, look, if you don't like that flag, if you don't like this country, here's the thing: you don't have to represent it in the Olympics. You don't have to go to our public schools. Right. Don't take advantage of the benefits of being American if you are ashamed of being American.
Yeah, absolutely right. And Craig didn't say leave the country, folks. He didn't say that. He said. And when he said school, he's talking about college. He didn't tell you not to go to grade school. So that's how you got to be this stupid. You didn't go to grade school in the first place. You gotta realize what you're taking advantage of. Right. It's the oh my God, I hate overtaxation. It's horrible. Oh, thank you for my stimulus check. Thank you. Right. It's the. Do you know what you just said? Do you realize what you just said and what you just did? So yeah. Gutfield had a good quote in here. It was. He said in just 52 seconds, he counted 432 likes. He could feel his brain draining. He felt so dumb. He said, I feel so dumb right now. I finally understand the appeal of Seth Rogen. So,
because dude.
Yeah.
And I know I say dude a lot, but that's my way to keep from cussing at people.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Everybody knows Rogan, the stoner Canadian. Listen, he could be funny at times. I'll give him that. But he was sticking his nose in American business and politics last week. So I think that's why Greg gave him a little slap.
Seth Rogen is the guy that we make fun of. He's an idiot. And the problem is we all know that stoner idiot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Exactly
that's
right.
Why,
At least
that's why he's funny, not because he's particularly particularly funny dude. It's a dude is an idiot, and we love laughing at idiots.
Yeah, we do, and he is definitely one that we laugh at. So that works out. So yeah, this was great. Listening to some of those comments, like you said, Craig, from some of the students was just, it was like watching when the Man Show used to go out on the streets with Adam Carolla and Jimmy Kimmel and ask the dumb questions, and get people that thought they were serious. But, help us end women's suffrage, that kind of stuff. And they would be
Yes.
like, yeah, we gotta end the suffrage of women, not knowing what it was. So
Right.
but these responses were honest questions to
Right.
honest answers, and they sounded that stupid. They sounded Comedy Central stupid, is what it sounded like.
Exactly. Well, you know, and Mike, here's the thing, and I know a lot of people want to blame public schools for the brainwashing of kids, but here's the thing, folks. If you are not the major influence of your children's values, then you got a problem, right? If sending them, if having them, if mainstream media or the schools are the main places where your kids are learning their values, then you have a problem. You have not been doing your job. I'm just gonna say it. You know, both my kids graduated from public school. My son went on to a public school university, and a California public school university, and came back as conservative, if not more conservative, than when he went, because the values that were instilled in him by his mother, by myself. You know, we have a responsibility to be that primary educator, and we delegate some of that to the school system. But ultimately, if you're not talking about these things with your kids while they're growing up, while they're teenagers, if you're not engaged in and paying attention to what they're being taught about these things at school and providing appropriate correction, then don't be surprised when they go off to a university and come back brainwashed left-wing liberals, because you didn't provide the foundation for them before they left. So for those of you who have kids who are raising them right now, provide that foundation so that they'll be solid when they get out there. They'll know how to defend their values.
Exactly right. Excellent point. It's a good place to end that, I think, right there, Craig. So good job, folks. Raise your children. You know, raise your kids.
Raise your kids.
Hey, last week we talked to you about congresspersons. What's the plural when it's a man and a woman?
Congress members.
Congress members. There we go. I didn't know if we could say member. I didn't know if that was too aggressive. Congress members, Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG. They remember we talked to you last week.
Old for him, isn't she?
Oh, no, we're going to jump into that topic. All right. Well, I mean, they're on the West Coast right now, so I think it's okay. You know,
okay.
He's going to give her a role in his next movie.
Look, we ain't down south down there in Florida.
Well, now, see, down here, it would only matter if they were related. So
okay.
Out there, it says if she wants to get a movie role, you know.
Okay. So there you go.
Let's be clear there. All right, so not saying anything happened between Matt Gaetz and MTG, just drawing some conclusions ahead of time. Let's take a look here. Remember we talked to you about they were going to go to what was the name of the other one? The Pacific Hills Banquet Center and Event Center in Laguna Hills, right? And they got in there and they went to have one of their freedom rallies, and they were the manager there, the foreign national manager. Once he realized that it was politics from the right side, canceled it and just flat out said, "Oh, we're not having any kind of that stuff here. We're not that we're going to have an open discourse, not that we're going to allow one side or the other to speak. So there's a equal time and footing." He just said, "Nope, no, we don't do conservatism here. We're done."
He didn't want that sort of negative attention.
Right? Yeah, they're in a conservative area. Yeah, well, less conservative than it used to be. Yeah, but definitely. the right hand the left hand could easily come in and make life miserable for him. So he chose to, cower and concede to the left.
Pretty much, that sums it up. Yeah.
There were two more event centers that have since been involved in this. And Craig, this is kind of my problem with this is that these event centers. Let me make sure I get them right here. One is the Anaheim Event Center. That's a private event center. The Anaheim Event Center. Yep. So the organization, the private organization, they get to decide who comes in. As long as they're not in there, doing any law breaking. We're not sacrificing chickens on stage or anything like that. They get to have their point of view. Well, the city of Anaheim decided they were going to stick their nose in the private Anaheim Event Center's business and laid pressure on them and said, no, we don't like what they're going to do. So you should really cancel their show. Oh, and by the way, don't forget who gives you your permits to do what you do.
Yeah, see that right there. Now that is government interfering in political speech, and they don't get to do that. And ultimately, I think definitely going to be an opportunity for a lawsuit there. If you're a private entity and you decide you don't want to have them there because you don't like their political speech, you have a right to do that. It's your private property. But what you don't have a right to do as a government entity, you don't have a right to go after speech that you don't like. You
Right.
just don't have a right to do that. And you especially don't have a right to use the power of government to thwart that speech simply because you don't like it. And that's what it comes down to. Is they say, well, there'll be too much of this, or there'll be too much of that. And here's the thing: other than January 6th, I can't think of hardly any conservative, right of center events that have been violent. In fact, the only ones that I can ever think of are when Antifa decide that they want to show up and counter protest and get into a fight. Those are really the only ones. So you can't say you're worried about there being violence, because that's just generally not going to happen at many of these events. In fact, most of the places where conservatives hold rallies, they wind up neater and cleaner than when they first got there, because they pick up every single thing. So I don't know. I think this is utilizing the power of government to silence speech, and just like we've seen coming out of the White House, where they're telling Facebook what posts to censor, which ones not to. This is starting to become acceptable practice.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, the other one there, we told you there were 3 of these locations. The third one was the Raincross Hospitality Convention Center, which is Raincross Hospitality, which runs the Riverside Convention Center. Mm-hmm. So they have a contract that they run it. It is a private company that runs the government convention center.
Right.
They booked them to come in there. And then once the city of Riverside found out what they were doing, they canceled it. So the city-owned event canceled the city-owned event center, and the city canceled the event because of the politics involved. And again, Craig, like you said, I think this is clear violation, lawsuits coming, and it's just going to be embarrassing for the Democrats in those counties where you don't have enough money anyway, but now you're going to get to give a big chunk of it to Republicans.
And for those of you who don't know, Riverside is actually in the center of a place called, they call it the Inland Empire. It is there are a large number of conservatives in this particular area, but not in once you hit the city of Riverside, much in many places, once you hit an urban center, you all of a sudden now you've got a bunch of liberals who, for some reason, they like to congregate near each other and then try to force the rest of us to live near them so that they can rule over us. But that's kind of how it works. And so I think the fact that they're now looking to hold a peaceful protest, outside of Riverside City Hall. See, now this is going to be real interesting, because now they're going to have to find a way, if they don't want them to hold this peaceful protest, they're going to have to try and find a way to get around it, because they've allowed other people to protest there. And they can't just discriminate against this one group because they don't like their politics. I think this plan is, I think it is the icing on the cake for their lawsuit.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's be clear on this too. This is not just random people showing up, unorganized to protest. These are members of the U.S. Congress coming to protest with their followers.
Yes.
Okay. So you can't drag the leaders into the court and go, well, Your Honor, they're crazy and they're convicts and blah, blah, blah. Both members of the House of Representatives. Thank you very much.
Well, okay. So no, you cannot do that. But they're going to try, because, we all know the accusations that have been made about both Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz. We'll be interested to see how those things all play out.
I'm sure.
But
I wonder if they sound as crazy to the other side as some of the accusations do when we hear them. I wonder, because listen, she's clearly very, very right wing, very pro, pro 2A. I've never heard her say that she supported everything QAnon did. People have tied it and made suppositions about it, but I've never seen any direct evidence. And likewise, listen, Matt Gaetz is accused of perhaps an encounter with an underage girl. It's an allegation that needs to be investigated. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's all I have at this point.
What I will tell you, the only thing I've ever heard about Marjorie Taylor Greene that was really kind of out there was her support of some QAnon theories. And I think it was less that she supported the QAnon theories than that she didn't take some time to actually investigate what QAnon was and what they believed before she answered a question. And I think that was
right.
I think that was most of what that was.
And I think a lot of that was also she supported a theory that QAnon also supported.
Well, yeah. Well, there you go. That was another one. So no, she's definitely right wing. She's definitely conservative. She's not crazy by any stretch of the imagination. No. She sometimes she does not always think through what she says. But that's, hey, you can be president of the United States and do that.
Yeah. Daily, right? Yeah.
Right. But what's funny is the way the media likes to hold her out there as the leader of the Republican Party in the House. And I'm like, she's a backbencher. She literally is. In the caucus, she is a backbencher. She doesn't even have now committee assignments. So she's free to do all of this stuff. And then you got Matt Gaetz, who, has been a very, very vocal supporter of President Trump and the Make America Great Again movement. He has, these accusations that are against him, once again, I believe in innocent till proven guilty so far. I mean, my thing is this. If you had the goods, I would think he'd be in jail right now.
Yeah. We're not talking about a little tax evasion or a little embezzlement or something like that. We're talking about taking 17 underage girls out of the country and having carnal knowledge of them. That's a little bit more severe than campaign finance reform. Okay,
right.
That's a little bit different.
I would think you would have some, but anyway, I just wanted y'all to have that backstory in case you guys didn't know. So when he said, "Yeah, these are not criminals and crazy people," they might make that accusation.
Yes. Oh yeah, they're going to. They're absolutely going to. And the media does this religiously. They are trying to paint the picture. If we feed you enough information about them and tell you it's true, you'll believe it's true. When we're proven wrong, we'll put it in the back of the newspaper as a correction, and maybe 1/10 of the population might read it and know that we said it erroneously.
Right. We will update the story, and that will pretty much be about it.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. All right, let's move on to our final topic. And before we get there, I want to say that we do have Gorilla Machining sponsoring us again this week. Yet I have had not the opportunity to meet with them yet to know what item they're providing us with this week to give back to give out on Freedback Friday. Now we will again have a product from them on Freedback Friday, but I don't know what it is. It could be a T-shirt. It could be a barrel. It could be it could be some other kind of parts. I have no idea. So, but there will be something.
I think they're going to be giving out condoms.
Yeah. Oh well. Ooh,
Look, this isn't a public school. I'm just kidding.
Keeps your barrel dry when you have to do a river crossing. Which is true story, by the way. True story. Let's see. So thanks to the Gorilla Machining again, and congrats to Friday's winner, Kevin. Who had the best comment, I think, probably of the last couple of weeks, if I can recall. For those that didn't catch Friday's show, we were talking about Lego guns and the gun that somebody put Lego blocks on to make it look like a toy. And Kevin said the most dangerous part about that was stepping on it in the middle of the night. So.
If you have kids, you can relate to that one.
If you a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch sharp square, oh yeah, it'll make you jump. It'll make you jump through the ceiling. Absolutely. All right. Last story of the day. We have the NAACP Vice President Michelle Leste. Am I pronouncing that right? I don't know. She was on the Virginia PTA, the Parent Teacher Association, and she said back on Thursday, when they had a meeting concerning critical race theory, and they were meeting outside of where were they outside the school board there, and they were complaining that there were other people. Now she was there not as a PTA member, as of course the line we're being fed right now. That she was there, and when people were saying we don't want to teach critical race theory because it's it's racist, it's hateful, and all the reasons you've heard from us on here. She said, well, then, you know what? Let them all die. let them all die. And Craig, I got to tell you, I've never heard from the PTA. I've never heard from the NAACP. I've never heard such violent speech before.
You know, it is literally critical race theory has become kind of a linchpin, and there's two things that I'll say to this. And I sit on a school board, and we've been discussing this. First of all, I think there are a lot of things that get lumped under critical race theory that are actually not critical race
Right.
theory. But then there are also parts of critical race theory that are taught in other things that are a problem. And you know, I think that looking at and taking a look at our nation's history and being open and honest about it is a good thing. But that's not what critical race theory is. It is literally it is looking at things through a lens that says all white people are racist. America is racist. If you are white, you are racist and you are an oppressor, and there's really nothing you can do about it. If you are a black person, you are oppressed, and there's really nothing you can do about it. If you don't think you're oppressed or if you don't feel oppressed, well, that's because you've been subjugated and you are under the control of your oppressors. There is no discussion. There is no debate. And the whole goal of critical theory, period, is about changing public policy. And so we're not even talking about just a history thing. We're talking about changing our society, the tearing down of our family, the tearing down of our faiths, the tearing down of our government, and our criminal justice system. So when people do this, yes, there are people who don't want to have all of our institutions torn down, because even if it's only 95% of where it could be or 90% of where it could be, it's still 200% better than anywhere else. And they want to act like nothing's gotten any better, like we're still the same way we were under the Democratic Party's Jim Crow laws. But the fact is that we're not where we were. And 10, 15 years from now, we won't be where we are right now. But I think that, but the problem is that because they are so passionate about this stuff, and because they get so whipped up by the left, by the Marxists, you get people who make outrageous statements like this, like, you know, they all should just die. And the worst part is that you probably have people out there who are like, yeah, let them die.
Yeah. It's almost a form of TDS, the hatred in there. You know, it's one of those issues that will just incite people. Where are we? And I've said it before. Why are we where we are now with race relations, or why are we where it's perceived to be right now? Is because of the hate and division that your 44th president put out here, and by you I mean all Americans. By all our 44th president put out, and immediately drove us back 30, 40, 50 years in race relations. And now it's a tool. Now it's a tool again. This woman is Michelle Leet. She's the vice president of her local NAACP chapter. She was the vice president of training at the Virginia State PTA and the vice president of communications for the Fairfax County PTA. Now, again, I think the PTA should have stood up a little bit stronger. They said she was not speaking for the PTA when she was speaking, and of course, we don't agree with her. But they didn't say they disagreed with her either. So, and no word from the NAACP. But she has since resigned from her positions in the PTA. So,
yeah, because she was speaking on behalf of the NAACP, wasn't she?
She said she was speaking on behalf of Michelle Leet. You know, I can't find anywhere in the story that said she was speaking on behalf of the NAACP. She was just a member or a leader of the NAACP. NAACP has not said anything whatsoever since this happened.
Interesting.
Listen, folks, this is why it's important to get involved. Listen, Craig's gotten so involved. He's a member of his school board. If you think things are going on in your school and your school system, pay more attention. Pay more attention. We've already said here, be involved and listen. You be the primary in raising your child. We're going to allow certain things of your child's rearing to occur in school. You better be involved with what's going on at school. This is it. This is the kind of hateful thing that's going against inside and outside your schools. So be involved.
Don't just drop your kids off and act like it's their responsibility. It's still your responsibility. It's your responsibility to make sure they're getting the education that they're supposed to get by the school district that has elected board members that you helped elect. And if you don't feel like you can trust them, then you need to either homeschool or get your kids in private school or in a charter school. But you've got to try and find a way to make sure that your kids are getting the education that they're supposed to get. It's your responsibility. It was my responsibility for my kids. It's Mike's responsibility for his kids. and we delegate some of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this particular case, man, this is just, I would just tell you right now, critical race theory is, in my opinion, one of the worst things to ever come across. And the worst part is people are out and outright lying when they say, oh, well, it's not happening in public schools. No, it is. You have laws, states like California, which are passing laws that are including this stuff in our required education. You have some states who are passing laws who are making sure that it's not. But when you hear people say it's not anywhere in our schools, they're lying.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Florida is one of those states where Captain Florida here, Governor DeSantis, they passed a law here within the past 2-3 months. It's illegal to teach it, public or private, at any level in the state. So,
and you can, by the way, you can teach about cultural diversity. And you can teach about America's history with slavery and Jim Crow without critical race theory.
Right. Yeah,
you can.
It's never been a problem. It's never been a problem. Not until recently, but we digress. All right, Craig, let's, we had another topic, but we're going to push it till tomorrow. It's a listener call-in topic, some, what do we call it? Issues out of Norway. Sure to get your panties in a bunch on what's going on up there. So let's move on though. Again, remind everybody that Freedback Friday comes with some nice merchandise from our friends at Gorilla Machining. We will let you know what that is tomorrow, hopefully. I have not met with them yet this weekend, but let's move into our parting shot for the day.
Okay, Mikey, this is a joke that never gets old. I mean, these are two of them. So first there's the whole there's the whole F-15 argument, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then there's him and stairs.
Listen,
I'm thinking that if we want to overthrow the government, what we really need to do, if we really want an insurrection, all we need to do is throw a bunch of stairs at the president.
Listen, for those of you old enough to remember, President Gerald Ford never met a set of stairs he couldn't fall down. And President Biden evidently is the first president to ever fall up the stairs. Not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row. He fell up the stairs. Yeah. I think I said it before. All I could see is Kamala inside the plane jumping up and down like she threw marbles on the stairs or something like that.
Is he down? Is he down?
Is he down? Is it my turn yet? Yeah. So, we can't take him down without nukes or F-15s. Yet right. His nemesis, the stairs, seem to have no problem taking him down. Well, Craig, that's all I got for everybody today. I always would thank everybody, for being here. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Join us on our Facebook channel. Join us on our YouTube channel. Where else should they be looking for us, Craig?
You can find us on Facebook, YouTube. You can find us on the Twitters. You can also find us. Now the program sometimes is on at 2A News. It's at the California Republican Assembly, which is also one of our sponsors. You'll find it on, Arms Room Radio. That's right. But ultimately, if you're going to compete, if you want to be a part of Freedback Friday, you got to watch us on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook page. That's where you have to watch the show and comment, because as much as we love those other venues, y'all got to come to his house. And participate in the conversation there.
That's it. That's how we do it. Thanks for joining us again here on Manic Mondays edition, and we'll see you tomorrow on Taco Tuesday.
Yep. Like, share, subscribe.
Do it. Do it now.